For quite some time now, I have had some loyal channel supporters and fans ask me to do a video about how Gregg Berhalter's tactics are ruining the U.S. men's national team. And I'm not so sure that I am actually qualified to analyze tactics on that level. I can point to maybe management style and coaching style and how that might actually be a detriment to him and a detriment to the team. But I don't know that much in order to make a strong opinion. I do have some opinions that I want to share, but I'm gonna save that towards the end of the video. I'm gonna react right now to a video essay. This is the only video I've been able to find that looks like it's gonna be helpful in understanding the hatred for Berhalter. Some of the other videos, they get into it a little bit, but they're older videos from several years ago. And I wanted to get a more up-to-date video, even though this is only 8 months. This was 8 months ago. I wanted to get a video that was going to explain things a little bit better for me. So let's watch this video. I've got some comments that I'm going to share at the end of the video that I think are hopefully going to be helpful. But let's get into this.
Greg Berhalter is a coach with the system. And right now, that system is not working. This is not a video about the system itself. Instead, this is about how implementing any system that requires rigidity and a mental intensity is wrong for a national team, and how Greg needs to be held accountable for his inability to simplify.
You know, we talked about it today with the group and with the coaching group, and you know, I think things became pretty clear.
What became
Things.
Things. Stranger things. What could Greg mean? I'll give you a couple of things. To use a biblical quote, Gregg Berhalter is a stiff-necked leader, and after the dust settles on a week of total bad vibes, I do.
So it sounds to me like part of the problem, just even from the intro of this video, is that Gregg Berhalter is a good coach on a club system. That if he has years with a club where he can implement rigid systems, rigid training, mental discipline, and things of that nature, that he can be effective with a club. But on a national team, it probably is not beneficial to be that kind of manager, because you're managing players who play for different clubs. They play all across the world. It's not the kind of team that can implement a very rigid, high discipline, high level of accountability system, because players are their attention is torn between their club career and their international career. That's what it seems to me, just from the intro of this video. That seems to be what the problem is. Let's see a little deeper what they're going to say here.
Fear. We are paying a price for Gregg's club. Infused emphasis on system, because we've talked about this a lot. International football is such a fleeting creature. The teams are flung together. They are so just beautiful, fleeting things. They have barely an opportunity to train, and Gregg's ambitious desire to play out of the back, deliver American aggressive vertical football, that needs repetition, that needs practice, that needs understanding, that needs chemistry. And the time that Greg has as an international manager, not a club manager, you have loads of bloody time as a club manager, it just does not allow it. But by banging on in every press conference about system, Greg is inadvertently delivering a message to his young players that the system is both more important than this player's form and also their ability to influence games in key moments as individuals. It's deeply restricting, constricting, all the ictings, and the annoying part of it, so many of our players are just blessed with such skill. Pulisic, Brendan, Gio.
Right, we've got players that are extremely high quality, who are stars on teams playing all over the world. The conflict here really is between the style of management, which would be effective for a club where you've got maybe one or two star players, but you've got a handful of guys who are just role players in a system, and that's just not going to work on a national team where you've got a star-studded roster. of players who are very effective in their own, own rights. And maybe there needs to be a little looser environment when it comes to the coaching, which is why I think during that interim period between when Berhalter was fired and when he was reinstated, there was an interim coach. I can't remember his name, but there was like 3 games that the U.S. men's team played under that coach. Specifically, one of those games was that 3-0 victory against Mexico. And I remember watching those games thinking the team looked fantastic. They were playing loose. They were playing with a lot of spirit, and it looked like they were playing free. And I think maybe that's less to do with the tactics than it is the environment that the team is subject to. And I think maybe Berhalter is the kind of coach that is a little more oppressive over his players. And while that might work on a club level, it's not going to work on the national level. These are kind of my thoughts as this video unfolds.
Fit, Weyer, ditto, I'll even say PFOC. But those improvisational skills just are buried alive because they become slaves to that system. And second, speaking to people on the inside, these players are training on so many things to get Gregg's system in such little time that not only are they mentally overwhelmed, as Gregg hinted upon reflection post-Japan, but they're feeling physically exhausted too before they even take the field for the actual games. And we have less than 50 days to go before kickoff. Gregg can make changes. All is not lost. I want to be clear, we can still believe, but Gregg must simplify, simplify, simplify.
Wow. Let's break this all down. The first is that Gregg is a stiff-necked leader and has a club emphasis of system, system, system.
So I'm imagining everybody who knows soccer, such as yourself and others, are looking at him with a...
I can't bear it. All right. I'm in the video here. I can't bear to listen to Stephen A. Smith talk about soccer. Stephen A. Smith knows absolutely nothing about this sport or any other sport. He has some knowledge, I guess. We talk about basketball, maybe football. He can have some opinions, but the man just does not know this sport, and I don't want to hear him talk about it, to be honest. I'm sure this video is great. If you want to go check it out, I have it linked in the description below. And it's going to get into, I'm assuming it's going to get into some of the more tactical things. But I think the problem is what they addressed here in the intro. The intro addressed what I think is the key issue, and that is not an issue of tactics. It's not an issue of system. I think probably he's a great coach, or a good coach at least, but it just probably he's on the wrong team. I think that it's not conducive to national team success, and unfortunately, the U.S. men's national team is going to pay a price for it. And so I think that I would be in favor of cutting ties completely from Berhalter unless he shows the ability to loosen it up and to take a different tactic, a different management tactic when it comes to this national team. It just doesn't feel like he's fitting in right with a national team. So that's the argument of this video. I think that this is correct. I think that this is my thoughts on the matter. And it's no hatred actually towards Berhalter. I think he's probably a good coach. And he seems like the kind of guy that even I would like to play for if I was playing at a club level. But I'm also not a superstar. I would be a role player. That being said, if you enjoyed this video, if you have thoughts on this video, go ahead and comment down below and tell me what you think about Berhalter and his involvement in the U.S. men's national team.